The news today can be a pretty heated topic, but one thing we can all agree on, without a drought, is the weather outside. Joining me today, I have the pleasure of speaking with KTLA's very own Vera Jimenez, whose personality shines through our screens and whose forecasts hardly ever missed. How are you doing today, Vera?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Did you enjoy the puns?
I enjoyed all the puns. They're very cute. You're obviously a very creative writer.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it was such a breeze coming up with them. All right. So you started your journalism career back in high school. You worked on the school newspaper, and
Mhm.
then you went to SAC and continued that route there. Where did that interest come from?
Well, I am not that, I don't enjoy math and science a lot, which is ironic because now what I do now is all math and science. I'm trying to see if I can get this to look better for you. There we go.
There we go.
Uh, And so I like telling people stories and I like communicating. And I found that that fit my natural abilities better than math or science. So that's how I went with journalism.
And then your broadcasting career also started at SAC. You interned at a local radio station.
I
So what was
did.
that like, and what impact did that have on you?
I learned that I liked radio. When I was at SAC, I also worked in the like film and TV department, and we actually put a newscast on. So you went out, you found stories, you interviewed people, you edited them, you wrote them, the whole thing. You did it. You were like a one-man band, and it taught me that I didn't like working in television, that I really preferred radio. Radio was great because you were still communicating, you were still telling stories, but you didn't have to worry about hair, you didn't have to worry about makeup, you didn't have to worry about what clothes you wore. It was really truly about storytelling and the art form and the skill of being a good storyteller.
Yes. And then so from radio to TV, when did that transition happen? And did you ever envision yourself being in front of the camera?
Not in a capacity of anchor. I knew that somehow I liked radio, and so I thought I would be broadcasting, but I never really thought that I would do that as a career. Like didn't do. I used to do commercial work, and I like that, but I didn't like auditioning, so that wasn't the route that I was going to take. So I figured that I would work in television, but I would work behind the scenes. So I would work as a writer or maybe as a producer, but I never thought that I would work on camera.
Right. So what finally, pushed you and motivated you to take the next step and go on camera?
Uh, my friend who I worked in radio with went to ABC and was working at ABC, and he suggested that I send in a reel. And I didn't have any reel, and so he said send them a headshot and some audio if that's what you have, and then just go from there. You have nothing to lose, just do it. So I did it, and they asked me to audition, and I didn't get the job. And then I auditioned. They called me back like 6 months later, and they said, "We would like you to audition again." And I had the foresight to ask why they hadn't liked me the first time. I said, "That what notes can you give me so that I can change? Because obviously you didn't like what I did the first time. What will I? How do you want me to change it so that it's more to what you are looking for?" And they said, "Well, can you straighten out your hair and can you put on some makeup?"
Really? That was the explanation why?
I said, "Well, what about my ability to share the information? What about my ability to handle the information?" They're like, "No, no, no, just put on some hair and makeup and we'll re-audition you again." So I put on some hair and makeup, and basically I straightened my hair and I put on some makeup, and I said, "Can you start on Monday?" And I said, "Yeah, I can start on Monday."
I
So
would say the news industry has gotten better about not being too, superficial and worrying about appearances, right?
Yes, yes, very much so. And I think that is all just because they're afraid of getting sued, not because they're changing.
Oh, so yeah, it's about the diversity
Yes,
being
but
seen.
the truth is if you're good enough, then you'll get hired. You work very hard. You work very
Yeah.
hard at looking your best. You get enough sleep, you watch what you eat, you exercise, you meditate, you take care of your mental health.
Yes.
You know,
Well,
you
sleeping
don't.
in college is another story, but
No, I get it. You know what? You know what I lived on when I was peanut M&Ms and M's and black coffee.
oh
I mean,
wow,
yeah, peanut
very
M&Ms and M's and black
nutritious.
coffee.
So, what was your first experience like on camera?
It was very nerve-wracking. I honestly did my first traffic report and had a trash can next to me. And when I got done, I leaned over and thought I was going to puke.
Oh wow, how did you learn to control those nerves, before the on-air button went off?
You know, it took me years. I mean, honestly, I mean, to the point where, okay, so I didn't feel like I was going to throw up every time. Like, I got over that pretty quick. But just in terms of if you really care about what you're doing, then you're always going to feel a little nervous. You're always going to feel it, even to this day, when there's a big fire, when there's a lot of rain, you know, you get that adrenaline rush. You get that fear of, do I have everything? Am I going to have enough time? Am I going to be, concise? Am I going to be clear? Am I going to be able to talk or to speak or to communicate succinctly so that everybody gets the information that they need?
And you mentioned, you had a trash can hiding there just
Oh
in case
yeah,
the worst happened. So, being that it is live TV and accidents sometimes do happen, have you ever experienced an embarrassing moment?
all the time. So many I couldn't even count. I couldn't even tell you.
What
Does
about the
one
one that sticks
stand
out the
out?
most?
No, nothing stands out the most because every day, because it's what you said. But what you need to remember and what your classmates need to remember, Luis, is that nobody knows what you're going to say but you. So 10% of everything that you plan is going to go wrong. And when it does, it doesn't matter because nobody knows but you. And you can't let that impact your job. So what used to happen to me is I would be going through my slides talking about the weather, and then as I got to the 7 day, I would remember, oh gosh, I want to, like, I'm still talking and doing the 7 day, but like my brain would divide, and all of a sudden, my mind would go, you forgot to say this. Well, I'm still talking, but now I'm no longer focused on the numbers because now half of my brain is thinking about what I forgot, there's a part of my brain that's thinking about what I'm talking about, and there's a part of my brain that splits off to think about what I'm about to say. So all of these things are happening in your brain at one time. So what you want to do is you want to quiet the brain down as much as you can so that you let go of the past because there's nothing you can do about it and nobody knows. And all that's going to do is throw you off.
Yep. And, you really have to live in the present and just breathe, whatever happens, happens. But in a way, it's funny when something does slip up, it kind of humanizes the news a bit, and it's a nice little gaffe, a little lighthearted moment.
Exactly. And so that's what you do. If you can make a joke out of it, it's even better because then people get a little laugh and it does humanize you.
Your personality is known to be very vibrant, very contagious. You were voted
Thank
most
you.
spirited in high school. So where does that come from?
I don't know. I think I'm very optimistic and I happen to be a happy person. I work really hard and I take really good care of myself. And I think the most important thing, the reason why I think I'm a happy person or why I feel like I'm a happy person is because I'm really truly authentic to who I am.
That's a great mindset to have, and something that's learned, or sometimes you're born with it. And I feel like you're one of those that was born with that
I
amazing.
was born with it. But my mom is the opposite. My mom is a huge part of my life. There's my mom, my husband, my brothers and sisters. Like that's it. The world could fall apart, but if I'm okay in their eyes, like that's all that matters to me. My family, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. When I'm on TV and I think, is my cousin going to be embarrassed because of something that I did, or is my brother going to be embarrassed? Am I embarrassing my mom, my sisters, my nieces, my nephews, my friends, my husband? Like, am I doing right by them? And my community? Like, I'm a person of color. am I representing my community right? Am I doing right by them? Am I doing right by all of the immigrants like my mom, like me? And as long as I know that those things are falling into place, then I can see the world half full because I have seen other people do it, and now I'm hoping that I'm doing it for Luis. And when Luis is my age, he'll be on a Zoom call or maybe telepathically because, technology is changing so fast that you will be having this conversation with the next generation and imparting these good values and the lessons and the skills that you've learned and you've picked up along the way.
And you mentioned your mom. You have a very close relationship with your mom from what you've told us. And what inspires you most about her?
She's a hard worker. My mom, she had 6 kids. My dad died when I was 3. I'm the last of the 6, and she taught me, like, she implemented, not by words, but by, my mom is not a great communicator. And as I told you, she's a half empty and I'm half full. But I saw her work. I saw her have 2 jobs, but every day I knew where she was every day of my life. I can tell you that watching her work that hard and watching her sacrifice for her children, and I am witness to that and I am evidence of that.
You must feel very proud and accomplished of what you've done. But how do you think your mom feels watching you on TV?
You know, uh, at first she was afraid to watch. Now, mind you, my mom doesn't speak English. She speaks very little and she could understand it, but it was very broken and I talk too fast for her to like understand every word I say. But she's a parent. So if I say hello, she knows if I'm happy, she knows if I'm sad, she knows if I'm hangry, she knows if I'm tired. So she would know if I made a mistake or if I was nervous or I was scared. And when I first started working, she wouldn't watch because she would get so nervous that she was afraid to watch.
Mhm.
And so finally, my aunts and uncles and my brothers and sisters said, "Oh no, she's okay. She's doing okay." And then she turned on the TV. And still to this day she watches. And I think it makes her very proud. I think, at least I hope, that when she goes to bed at night that she sleeps well and that she sleeps peacefully knowing that we do what we can to contribute to humanity in a positive way.
As a meteorologist, I'm sure you forecasted this next question, which I'm about to ask you. What is your favorite type of cloud?
I like the I my oh there's so many. I love the anvil heads. So the anvil heads are these, they start off as these towering cumulus clouds, and then when they get to certain levels in the atmosphere, the winds up there are so fast that it starts to shear the top off, and so it shears the top off and then it becomes like a cumulus with an anvil head. I love that one. I love the lenticular cloud because it looks like a space saucer. You go, wow, can you imagine if that was a spaceship? And then I also like the wave clouds. There are these little clouds that actually look like waves and that are waves. They're waves of wind, and I love those because they remind me of the ocean. I love them all.
Mine would have to be Stratus. I just like the way they
The stratus?
blanket over the sky,
Yeah.
and I just start feeling cozy.
They blanket the atmosphere and they keep us warm at night and they keep us cool in the day.
Yes, they do. Any last words, Vera?
I just wish you all the best. And I look
Thank you
forward to
very
seeing you guys all on TV one day.
Thank you very much, Vera. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Luis. Good luck.